Hello, Nevada Realtors, and welcome back to an episode of It's Not Soup Yet. I do want to clear up from our last episode that in no way has Campbell's Soup ever offered or sponsored this series, but we would appreciate it if someone who knows someone at Campbell's would reach out.
Yeah.
So, guys, thank you for being here again. I'm with our legislative leaders in real estate, Mr. Keith Lynam, and our state president, Tom Blanchard. Thank you guys for being here. Another interesting week in Carson City.
I'd say so.
So first one up on the list is we're still talking about SB 68, which is the real property transfer tax. I believe that bill actually made it to committee where it had some conversation that happened.
Yeah, we had some conversation about it, and good. Again, great idea. Wrong funding mechanism. I'm sure they'll figure out something here real soon.
Makes sense. I also see that we have a number of landlord tenant bills that are out there that, of course, as you said last time, Keith, you guys have been able to work with many of the bill sponsors to work out some of the issues on these. And so they are evolving and going through their process. But just to be clear, a legislator introduces a bill, that bill then goes to a committee, it's heard, it then sometimes goes to a work group before it even passes its house, before it can go to the other side of the aisle.
Or it may not even be heard.
It may not even
be heard. When it
Yep.
goes to the transfer, right? It can get lost in the transfer.
For sure. And we're still seeing the progression of the HOA collection bill, which is SB 174. It seems like our own Azim Jessup was just up there testifying on that bill in support of it, making that process for community managers not having to have a collection license to go through that.
And let's not forget SB 198, which is trying to allow you to go to your neighbor's home and chop down the tree if its roots are coming across the wall and damaging your property in some way, or trim off the tree.
Sure.
If it's
Tom, I could see this could be an extremely serious bill because, I lived in a neighborhood where I had a pool, and across the wall for me was a tree that every time the wind would blow, all of that would go into my pool, and that branches would hang over, and I was upset about it for years, and I'm glad to see someone's finally doing something about it.
Yeah, there's no unintended consequences on this one, right?
There's nothing better than a fence to start fighting over. The Hatfields and McCoys live on today in the overgrowth of trees across fence lines. There you go.
We have the MB real estate group doing their stuff and reporting liens on properties and damaging stealing people's equity, in my humble consideration. But we're going to worry about somebody's trees.
Well, this issue will continue to grow, and we'll keep you updated as it does. I want to talk for a second about the septic bill, which I believe is AB 220.
220.
Yeah.
We got 420 for pot and 220
for crap.
For crap.
Yeah. So I think that's an interesting bill, and I want to talk to the agents out there that have been following this issue. This is a perfect example of It's Not Soup Yet. We have a bill that was introduced that could burden every homeowner that's on a septic system, that would have to convert with the full cost of conversion, which in some cases could be up to 6 figures, depending on how far away they are from the main sewer line. You guys were able to work with the water district not only to come up with a way of using federal funds and grant money to cover the cost of conversion. You were able to get them to look into the idea of having a SID so that cost could be spread out over the time of the property. And our own Bert Gurr was just testifying the other day about the item of removal of the tank. I got to tell you, when I think about this, I think about the movie Poltergeist. And, they're building the houses over the graves without moving the graves, right? And that's what worries me, is all these septic systems were going to sprout out all over town and not be properly removed. So I'm glad to know that, this is not a soup I want to get in the middle of, but this is one of those great examples of you guys out there working to make it be better than it was.
Right, and no one's thinking about the disclosures that you're going to need to do in the future if you do abandon a septic system and a septic tank there, because they can't put a pool.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be a shitty pool,
Yeah.
but or build on top of it because you don't know if it's going to sink,
Sure.
in the future. So there's some issues that still need to be done, and that's why it's not soup yet till it's soup. And even when it's soup, it's not always good soup, right? So.
Well, the aroma of this issue seems to turn people off, but I think that what I would say is that, I was more concerned about the leach fields and the runoff from these systems that they were removed. Someone buys the property, sells it, it's now 10 years down the road, they forgot where it's at, they can't find it. So I think that, being able to work that out and make sure that they're properly taken care of is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the process where you get in, and nobody likes government overreach until they've built themselves on top of an old septic plant, and that's where it comes in when they're digging in their backyard for a pool or whatever. These things need to be flushed out. No pun intended. Walked right into that one, didn't I? These things just need to work themselves through the system. How's that one for another one?
Very, very true.
Let's move on from this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do want to just mention, though, before we move on, that this is a Southern Nevada issue in its context, and I know Las Vegas Realtors is working on a information site that would be linked where you could go and get information on this as that evolves, and so we'll give you more info.
And the health district testified neutral,
Yeah.
which was rather interesting to see. I don't know why they testified neutral, because they're really sort of involved in this
Sure.
bill, right, of trying to clean up the septic tank. So it's going to be interesting to see as we move along the process what, why, and how things change if the health district comes on board to this bill.
I think
Final note: we're working to up it from 50% to 85%. We're trying to get the language in there to allow SIDS and LIDs to be performed, so that there's a bonding issue that can pay for all these things to lessen the burden on the homeowners. It more than likely is going to pass. And so those that just want to say no, you tried it when you were a kid. You're trying it as an adult. You just can't say no and be responsible. You gotta work through everything. No one gets everything they want. This world would be much better if they just listened to the three of us and just did what we said. But as much as we'd like that, it just doesn't work that way. And I've got two wives that I can verify with you guys that'll back me up on that. So it's going to get there, and it'll get livable, and it'll get worked through to the best of everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate all your hard work. Also want to give a shout out.
I wanted to bring up because I got two calls from it. Sorry to interrupt, but SB 96, the cap, this floor that they want to put on property tax. I got a couple of calls on that. We're looking at that. We're monitoring that. I'm not a big. I'll just be honest. I'm not a fan of this because there is no true cap. There is no floor on it. It's all an abatement. It says right there it's an abatement. So there is the ability for government to continue to, no matter how far the market drops, to continue to pull that funds out. So, but we are monitoring it. That's the message I wanted to make. SB 96.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Keith. So I want to give a big shout out to those in our realtor family that were available to testify on bills and call to action. It's so important when we're able to share that message. Tom talked about the fact of having a well-crafted information for each of those, but thank you to those realtor members who did so, and you can definitely see the info about that in the advocate.
Yeah, and remember, the call for action is as simple as making the call to the system, or pulling it up on your computer and saying yes or no. You're either for it or against it, and those all add up. And they have, I don't know if you can see this, but things on there, green to red, right? I mean, green means approve, and we did the call for action, and it went to red. And hopefully, legislators are busy, so they look at it, right? They see the results, and that's important.
That's the process.
This advocate had Haiti in there as our realtor champion. Isn't this the advocate that had there in there?
It does.
Proud
of
of
Haiti. Introducing about, I think it's over 20 bills that she has brought to the table Definitely more info and links on those. And
22 to be exact.
22 bills.
12,
Yeah.
12 she's sponsor and 11 that she's co-sponsoring on. So she's a
And I think
little.
it's important. I mean, we've all talked. We all love her, and we've talked about her. But that shows you the respect she has from both sides of the aisle and from the industries, that people come to her and ask her to sponsor and co-sponsor bills. You know, beyond her fundraising prowess, she's very well respected within the building, and doing a fabulous job for us up there. And I'll be talking to her in about 20 minutes. So I'll tell her hi from everybody.
Please do.
Well, folks, our hearts are full of good tidings from the state legislature. And so with that, I want to thank you for being here and tuning in, and check out your advocate. And remember, folks, here in Nevada, it's not soup yet.
Be kind, everyone. Be kind.